Scientology, the IRS, these two entities might seem worlds apart, but their paths have crossed in a long and contentious history. One is a religious organization claiming spiritual enlightenment, the other a government agency tasked with collecting taxes. Seems straightforward, right? Well, not so fast. The relationship between Scientology and the IRS is anything but simple. It's a tangled web of accusations, legal battles, and questions about financial transparency. At the heart of it all lies a fundamental question. Is Scientology truly operating as a religion deserving of tax-exempt status, or is there something more to the story? That's what we're here to uncover. We're diving deep into the world of Scientology and its complex relationship with the IRS. We'll examine the claims, the controversies, and the evidence to try and separate fact from fiction. Get ready because things are about to get interesting. We're about to embark on a journey through one of the most controversial chapters in the history of religion and taxation in America. Scientology maintains it's a legitimate religion, deserving of the same tax-exempt status afforded to other faiths. But allegations of hidden agendas and financial irregularities have dogged the organization for decades. Critics point to the organization's aggressive recruitment tactics and its vast wealth as evidence that something doesn't quite add up. Former members have come forward with disturbing accounts, alleging that Scientology operates more like a business empire than a spiritual sanctuary. They describe a system where financial gain seems to be prioritized over spiritual growth. These accusations, coupled with Scientology's notoriously secretive nature, have fueled suspicion and distrust. The IRS, for its part, has faced its own set of challenges in dealing with Scientology. The organization has a history of aggressively challenging any attempts at scrutiny. Legal battles have raged for years, with Scientology employing every tactic imaginable to protect its interests. This leaves us with more questions than answers. Is Scientology truly being unfairly targeted, or are they masters of manipulation, exploiting legal loopholes for their own financial gain? The stakes are high and the implications are far-reaching. To understand this complex relationship, we need to go back in time. The battle between Scientology and the IRS is not a new phenomenon. It's a saga that has spanned decades. Our journey will take us through courtroom dramas, accusations of wrongdoing, and a constant struggle for power and influence. We'll examine key legal cases that have shaped this contentious relationship, uncovering the tactics employed by both sides. We'll hear from former members, legal experts, and those who have dedicated their lives to exposing what they believe to be the truth about Scientology. But perhaps the most challenging aspect of this investigation is the veil of secrecy that surrounds Scientology. Financial records are closely guarded and access to inner workings is tightly controlled. This lack of transparency only serves to deepen the mystery and raise further questions. So, buckle up as we delve into this captivating and often unsettling story. Our goal is not to pass judgment, but to shed light on a relationship that has far-reaching implications for our understanding of religion, taxation, and the very nature of truth itself. Scientology, founded by science fiction writer L. Ron Hubbard, presents itself as a religion focused on spiritual enlightenment and self-improvement. They claim their practices, like auditing with an e-meter, lead to spiritual freedom. Followers see it as a path to a better life. Their tax-exempt status hinges on being a bona fide religion. Critics argue it's a smokescreen for profit. The IRS grapples with these conflicting narratives. This raises questions about the definition of religion and government's role. Section 2. The Money Trail. Following the dollars in Scientology. Scientology's financial structure is contentious. It operates a complex network of corporations. Critics argue this makes tracking money difficult. Members make significant financial contributions. Fees are justified for spiritual progress. Critics see it as a money-extracting system. Former members allege aggressive fundraising tactics. Financial success is tied to spiritual advancement. The organization claims donations are voluntary. Section 3. The Price of Belief. Financial practices raise eyebrows. Scientology's vast wealth, evident in its sprawling properties and lavish facilities, has become a point of contention. Critics question how an organization claiming to be tax-exempt can amass such significant wealth. They argue that their financial resources allow them to spread their message globally. However, the lack of transparency makes it difficult to verify these claims. The IRS has scrutinized Scientology's financial dealings. Scientology accuses the IRS of religious discrimination. Section 1. Blurred lines, religion or business. Scientology blurs the lines between religious practices and business operations. Critics argue it mixes spiritual enlightenment with revenue generation. This raises red flags about Scientology's true motives. At the heart of this controversy is the concept of exchange. Every service requires an exchange of money. They argue this exchange is essential for spiritual progress. Critics see it as a money-making scheme. Costs often reach tens of thousands of dollars. Former members feel pressured to spend beyond their means. The IRS grapples with this intertwining of religion and finance. Determining if it's a legitimate religious practice or a business model is complex. Section 2. Recruitment Frenzy, the business of saving souls. Scientology is well known for its aggressive recruitment tactics, often targeting vulnerable individuals seeking purpose and belonging. This relentless pursuit of converts has raised concerns. One of the most controversial tools is the personality test. Offered for free, it identifies those susceptible to Scientology's message. Those who score poorly face intense pressure to join. Once drawn in, they face a barrage of costly courses and services. Critics argue this creates a cycle of dependency. Many question if the goal is spiritual enlightenment or financial expansion. Section 3. Celebrity Allure, Star Power and Financial Gain. Scientology has cultivated an image of glamour, attracting celebrities and high-profile individuals. These celebrities become powerful ambassadors, lending legitimacy to its teachings. Critics argue that Scientology exploits star power for financial gain. This raises ethical concerns about the commodification of faith. Section 4. Auditing the Books, a glimpse behind the curtain. Scientology's financial dealings are shrouded in secrecy, making it difficult to discern its true wealth. The organization fiercely guards its financial records, citing religious freedom and privacy rights. This opacity heightens suspicions about potential financial impropriety. Critics argue that Scientology's complex structure obfuscates its financial dealings. They point to the lack of independent audits and stonewalling of tax inquiries. The IRS faces resistance and legal challenges in auditing Scientology's books. The organization employs aggressive legal tactics to thwart investigations. This battle raises questions about the balance between religious freedom and accountability. The IRS, tasked with upholding tax laws and ensuring fairness, couldn't just ignore the mounting allegations against Scientology. Their attempts to investigate the organization, however, were met with fierce resistance. Scientology, it seemed, was prepared to wage war to protect its secrets. The organization, armed with a team of lawyers and a war chest of resources, launched a relentless counteroffensive. They filed numerous lawsuits against the IRS, accusing them of religious persecution and harassment. They claimed that the IRS was unfairly targeting them, driven by prejudice against their beliefs rather than legitimate concerns about their financial practices. This legal battle quickly escalated into a high-stakes game of cat and mouse. The IRS sought access to Scientology's financial records, believing they held the key to uncovering the truth. Scientology, in turn, employed every legal maneuver imaginable to delay, obstruct, and discredit the investigation. This clash wasn't just confined to courtrooms, it spilled over into the public sphere. Scientology, skilled in public relations, launched a media campaign aimed at discrediting the IRS and portraying themselves as victims of religious bigotry. They understood the power of public opinion and sought to sway it in their favor. A shocking discovery revealed the lengths to which Scientology was willing to go to protect its interests. In 1977, the FBI uncovered Operation Snow White, orchestrated by Scientology's highest ranks. This operation involved widespread infiltration and theft of government documents. The revelation sent shockwaves through the nation. The organization was now seen as a powerful and potentially dangerous force. 11 high-ranking Scientologists were indicted and convicted. Operation Snow White raised serious questions about their true nature. After decades of legal battles, a surprising turn of events unfolded in 1993. The IRS granted Scientology tax-exempt status, recognizing them as a religious organization. This decision marked a major turning point, raising questions about what had transpired behind closed doors. The details remain shrouded in secrecy, with both parties bound by confidentiality clauses. Speculation ran rampant about the terms of the deal and potential concessions. It ended years of legal battles, granting Scientology legitimacy and financial freedom. Section 4. Lingering questions, transparency, and trust. Despite the IRS's recognition, Scientology continues to operate under a cloud of suspicion. The organization's history of secrecy, aggressive legal tactics, and questionable financial practices continues to fuel public distrust. The question remains, is Scientology truly operating as a legitimate religious institution, or are they exploiting their tax-exempt status for financial gain? The organization's financial dealings remain opaque, and their recruitment tactics continue to raise ethical concerns. Former members still come forward with disturbing accounts of their experiences within the organization. The battle between Scientology and the IRS has raised important questions about the role of government in regulating religious organizations. How do we balance the right to religious freedom with the need for accountability and transparency? While the legal battles may have subsided, the ethical and philosophical questions linger, demanding further examination and debate. Section 1. The Church strikes back, challenging the IRS's authority. Scientology, facing mounting pressure from the IRS, refused to back down. They saw the agency's investigations as an assault on their religious freedom. Their response was swift and aggressive, employing a legal strategy to attack, discredit, and overwhelm. They went on the offensive, filing numerous lawsuits against the agency. Their goal was to tie up the IRS in costly legal battles and paint them as a rogue agency. This strategy played out in courtrooms across the country. A case of religious discrimination, Scientology cries foul. Scientology claimed they were victims of religious discrimination. They argued the IRS unfairly targeted them due to their unconventional beliefs. This narrative resonated with those who saw the IRS as intrusive. They questioned why Scientology faced intense scrutiny while other religions did not. Was it their unconventional beliefs or Hollywood connections? The IRS had to justify its actions, proving it wasn't biased. This debate raised questions about religious freedom and government oversight. Section 3. Inside the courtroom, a battle of legal titans. The legal battle between Scientology and the IRS was a high-stakes showdown that captivated legal experts and the media alike. Both sides assembled formidable legal teams, each determined to outmaneuver the other. The courtroom became a battleground of legal arguments and expert testimony. Scientology employed a strategy of delay and obfuscation. They filed countless motions and sought endless continuances. Their goal was to wear down the IRS and make the case too costly to pursue. The IRS faced the task of proving Scientology was a business masquerading as a church. This required delving into Scientology's complex beliefs and financial dealings. The courtroom became a stage for a battle of narratives. The judge faced immense pressure to render a fair decision. Section 4. A legacy of mistrust, the aftermath of the showdown. The legal battle between Scientology and the IRS ended in 1993 with a settlement. The IRS granted Scientology tax-exempt status, but the details remain secret. This lack of transparency fueled speculation and suspicion. Some believed Scientology bullied the IRS into submission. Others speculated the IRS decided to cut its losses. The settlement left a legacy of mistrust. Section 1. A controversial victory, implications of tax-exempt status. The 1993 decision to grant Scientology tax-exempt status sent shockwaves through both the legal and religious landscapes. It was a decisive victory for the organization, silencing years of legal battles and granting them the recognition and financial benefits they had long sought. However, this victory came with a hefty dose of controversy, raising concerns about fairness, accountability, and the future of religious regulation. For Scientology, the implications were monumental. Their tax-exempt status not only provided significant financial advantages, but also bestowed upon them a level of legitimacy they had previously struggled to attain. It allowed them to operate more freely, expand their operations, and attract new followers without the burden of constant legal challenges and financial scrutiny. Critics of the decision argued that it set a dangerous precedent, potentially opening the floodgates for other groups, some with questionable motives, to claim religious exemption for financial gain. They feared that the IRS, by caving to Scientology's aggressive tactics, had inadvertently weakened its own authority and undermined its ability to regulate religious organizations effectively. The controversy surrounding the decision highlighted the delicate balance between upholding religious freedom and ensuring accountability. It raised questions about whether the IRS, in its attempt to avoid accusations of religious discrimination, had gone too far in accommodating an organization with a history of secrecy and questionable practices. The IRS under scrutiny. The IRS's handling of the Scientology case didn't go unnoticed. Lawmakers, legal experts, and the public scrutinized the agency's actions. Congressional hearings were held, and investigations were launched. Critics accused the agency of being too easily intimidated. The IRS maintained its decision was based on law and evidence. They argued Scientology met the legal requirements for religious exemption. The Scientology case had a ripple effect on religious freedom in the United States. It raised questions about the definition of religion and the limits of religious exemption. Legal scholars debated its implications, expanding the scope of religious freedom. The case fueled a societal conversation about the role of religion in public life. It serves as a cautionary tale about the potential for abuse within religious organizations. Section 4. Unresolved questions. The debate continues. Even though decades have passed since the IRS granted Scientology tax-exempt status, many questions remain unanswered. The organization's inner workings remain shrouded in secrecy, and allegations of abuse, financial impropriety, and questionable practices persist. Former members continue to come forward with disturbing accounts of their experiences within the organization, alleging psychological manipulation, financial exploitation, and harassment. These allegations, while fiercely denied by Scientology, fuel ongoing public scrutiny and cast a shadow over the organization's legitimacy. The IRS, for its part, has maintained that it continues to monitor Scientology's activities and that it will not hesitate to take action if it finds evidence of wrongdoing. However, the agency's past dealings with the organization have left many skeptical about its willingness or ability to effectively hold Scientology accountable. The Scientology case serves as a stark reminder that the battle to define the boundaries of religious freedom and the government's role in regulating faith is far from over. It is an ongoing conversation, one that requires careful consideration of competing interests, a commitment to transparency and accountability, and an unwavering dedication to upholding the rights of all citizens. Unmasking the illusion. Is it faith or finance? We've journeyed through a labyrinth of allegations, legal battles, and unsettling revelations. The story of Scientology and the IRS is a tangled one marked by secrecy, aggression, and a relentless pursuit of power and influence. But as we step back from the fray, one question looms larger than ever. Is Scientology genuinely driven by faith and a desire to help others achieve spiritual enlightenment? Or is it, at its core, a sophisticated business empire, cleverly disguised as a religion to reap financial rewards and evade accountability? The aggressive recruitment tactics, the exorbitant fees charged for services, the lavish lifestyles of its leaders, the relentless attacks on critics, and the history of secrecy and legal maneuvering. All these elements cast doubt on the organization's claims of being a purely religious institution. While Scientology maintains that its practices are rooted in genuine spiritual principles, the overwhelming emphasis on financial gain, often at the expense of its followers' well-being, raises serious red flags. The line between faith and finance, already blurry in many religious organizations, seems to vanish entirely within the world of Scientology, leaving behind a lingering sense of unease. The IRS, tasked with distinguishing between legitimate religious institutions and fraudulent schemes, found itself outmaneuvered and outgunned by Scientology's relentless legal tactics and political pressure. The agency's decision to grant them tax-exempt status, while perhaps legally sound, has done little to quell the doubts or address the ethical concerns that have plagued the organization for decades. The price of silence. The true cost of Scientology's victory. Scientology's victory over the IRS came at a steep price, impacting countless lives. Former members share stories of abuse, manipulation, and financial ruin. Their voices reveal a darker side, exploiting followers' vulnerabilities. The IRS's tax-exempt status decision did little to address systemic issues. It emboldened Scientology, allowing them to operate with greater impunity. The true cost is measured in shattered lives and broken families. A call to action, protecting faith, and fostering accountability. The story of Scientology and the IRS is a wake-up call, a reminder that blind faith, unchecked power, and a lack of accountability can have devastating consequences. It highlights the need for greater scrutiny of religious organizations. We must safeguard religious freedom while protecting individuals from exploitation and abuse. This requires a multi-pronged approach. Lawmakers must ensure transparency and accountability within religious organizations. Law enforcement must investigate wrongdoing without fear of reprisal. We must ask tough questions, challenge dogma, and demand accountability. The enduring power of truth. The story of Scientology and the IRS is complex and unsettling, shedding light on the dangers of unchecked power. Even in darkness, truth finds its way to the surface. The pursuit of truth, transparency, and accountability is a fight worth fighting. Remember Hitchens' words, "What can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence."